Guess what, Joe? My name is Nicky Nunu, and today I am previewing the conference finals of the 25-26 NBA playoffs. Before I dive into this, I would also like to mention that yes, I took a few week hiatus, and I'm sorry for that. I had a lot of other things happening, and I probably will make a video on it. But for now, let's just get into the conference finals and ignore the fact that I missed the past few series of the playoffs. I'm sorry for that. I also should mention before I get way into this video that there will be some background noise because my parents are currently making dinner, and I hope it's not too distracting, but if it is, sorry about that. I'm going to start with the more exciting series in my opinion, and that is between the San Antonio Spurs and the Oklahoma City Thunder. These two teams have been powerhouses in the West the whole entire season. I believe that they finished 1-2, which, that makes sense. Now, during the regular season, the Thunder actually lost their matchup against the Spurs 1-4, which is pretty crazy considering how good the Thunder were last year and this year. Now, I don't know how much of a telltale that record in the regular season will be for their playoff matchup, but if it is, the Spurs will probably dominate. However, I don't think that'll be the case. I think that OKC, they've gotten the ball rolling in the playoffs so far. They haven't lost a game. They've been very, very, very good. And the Spurs have lost 3 games so far in the playoffs. And although I think that they are a great team, I think that they still have some inconsistencies. So I don't know exactly how this matchup will go at the end of the day. However, I do think that there are some things that could give tells as to how the series might actually go. With OKC, Shea just got confirmed to have won his second MVP in a row, which is very impressive. And the team, I feel, since they're young and they want to prove themselves, I think that they want to win another championship really badly, especially with the way that they won it last year, coming at a Game 7 in the finals against a team that they didn't think was going to be there. And they won that game after, Halliburton went down with the injury. And not to say that they wouldn't have won that game had he not gone down, as I believe they were winning that game whenever he did, but it definitely would have been a lot closer, and we don't know absolutely for sure if they would have. So I think this team wants to prove it within themselves. Additionally, with them making that run last year, they have a lot of playoff experience. And, granted, Wembanyama has made it to a conference final, his first NBA playoffs. That's very impressive, but it's still the Spurs with their current core. It's still their first NBA playoffs. Now you have De'Aaron Fox, who had made it before, but he didn't really go anywhere deep in it. And they just don't have a ton of actual, high-level playoff experience within their core of players. They have Harrison Barnes and stuff who have insanely long careers and have, gone really deep in the playoffs. So as far as their actual main, core characters of their cast to have gone in and have deep playoff, wins and runs, they just don't have that yet. Whereas the Thunder literally just won it last year, and their team seems to be a really good playoff team because of their defensive prowess. And it's funny that I say that for the Thunder, as the Spurs also have an insanely good defensive prowess, but it's mostly just because of Wembanyama and his presence on the court. And yes, the Wembanyama effect is real and does work in the playoffs, despite him, holding back on minutes compared to some other people in the playoffs, and especially in the regular season. But he's proven to me that he will be a force to be reckoned with within the playoffs for the years to come. Now, with all of that being said, my brain, if I actually think through each of these things, my brain does say OKC in 6, which means that after starting 8-0, I think that they will drop 2 games to the Spurs, but I think that they'll win it in 6 games. However, going against what my brain says and instead looking at what my heart wants, I can see that the Spurs, went 4-1 against this team in the regular season. The Wemby effect, again, is very, very, very real. And the Spurs are just way more fun to me personally as a ball watcher. Now, OKC games can be entertaining. Their defense is amazing, and Shea will go off for, a consistent 30 points a game. But, I don't want to side with NBA Twitter, but he gets a lot of free throws, and it's true, and, it's not to say it's not a skill. It's not to say he's unskilled because of that, and he's not deserving of those points because of that. But it can be annoying to watch in comparison to the, Victor Wembanyama San Antonio Spurs. So, because of that, my heart says Spurs in 7. My brain says OKC in 6. Which one do I want to go with? 6, 7? I'm going to pick Spurs in 7 just because why not? It will be so much more fun. And I think if Wemby made it to the finals, his first playoff run, it would be like, oh shit, what do we do as a league kind of thing? And it would just be really cool to see. Now, you can disagree with me all you want. Please let me know in the comments if you do. But I think Wembanyama in the finals, his first playoff run would just be incredible to see. And I don't know, I think it would just be awesome. Okay, moving on to the East, we have the New York Knicks versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. The Knicks went 2-1 against the Cavaliers in the regular season, which isn't a massive sample size, but I think personally it will be, somewhat telltale of what will happen in their series. After all, the Knicks just had 2 back-to-back 6-game series they came out of, where the Cavs had 2 back-to-back 7-game series that they had to claw out of. So I think it'll be interesting to see if the Cavs look kind of worn out and inconsistent, which they have been already, or if they will try to change a new gear into the conference finals. Me personally, I like the idea of keeping the ball rolling with, putting down teams earlier than 7 games. So I think as far as momentum goes, I think the Knicks have more than a team coming off of 2 7-game series. And with that, the Cavs are inconsistent. And I hate to be like this, but especially with their Harden acquisition, where I liked Harden on the team. I thought he would be a great acquisition. He's just been a good one, but he has had some games already in the playoffs where you're like, yo, this is not what we wanted you for. You are turning the ball over way too much, way more than we ever intended you to. And, I think in their game 7, he shot like 2 of 10 or something. It was very, very bad, and he only had like 9 points. And I think that if you go up against a more experienced Knicks team, they'll be able to take advantage of that, liability more so than other teams that they faced could. Opposing that, the Knicks have been kind of consistent so far, at least from what I've seen. I haven't been able to catch every single game, but from what I've seen, the Knicks have been a more consistent and confident team than the Cavs have so far in these playoffs. My prediction for this series is that the Cavs will inevitably rely on their backcourt too much and hope that Donovan Mitchell and James Harden will just be able to carry certain games in clutch moments. And I think that they might run away with 1, might run away with 2 games doing that. But I think that the Knicks will put it away in 6 games, and I don't think that the Cavaliers will know what to do going forward, as they will have, Harden, Mitchell, Evan Mobley, Jared Allen. They're going to be like, fuck. If it didn't work this year, is it going to work next year with Harden getting older? I don't know. And I cannot wait to see what the Cavs do going forward if they don't win it all this year. All right, that's it for my predictions for the conference finals. I'm not going to make a prediction for the theoretical finals. I will do that whenever we get there, and hopefully it will not be like what I said before, where I said I was going to predict every single series, and then it just, I didn't upload anything. Sorry about that. But whenever we get to the finals, I will do my prediction. I will try to do a more lengthy video on it, where it'll probably be the same amount of time as this video, actually, but it'll be, more in-depth because of that on each team. So we'll see it whenever we get there. Yeah, I guess that's it. I love my wife, and have a great day.